Hello, and welcome to Among the Lilies. This is a show for ladies who are tired of pretending and are ready to be real. I'm your host, Cameron Frad, and today I'm going to talk to you about saying no, learning how to say no. So, welcome to the show. I have a new background, if you can't tell. I'm very excited. This is my first um, episode that I'm doing with y'all from my new studio office, and I'm very excited to be among the lilies in the background. It was a big hot mess getting here and getting this together. I have some friends that helped me come over and just kind of get things going. And I had two girlfriends and one of us were holding a baby, the other trying to get the wallpaper up, and it's just been crazy and fun. But I am happy to be here coming live. Today with y'all. So I want to talk to you about something. So I just actually did an interview with Father Gregory Pine, which I don't think is going to work because I had so many technical difficulties. I'm still learning how to use this. I'm new to this whole setup, and praise God, it was one of those. He wanted to be on the show and talk about prudence, and the thing that he left me with that I really want y'all to hear today, because I needed to hear it. So I think if I need to hear it, some of y'all ladies out there also need to hear it. We're talking about prudence. He has a new book coming out. If you're on Patreon, you can watch it over there. At one point we lost power, and his mic was in and out most of the time. My video went out halfway through, so I'm just not there. It's just him. So it's a little awkward. It's very real and raw, but you can watch it over on patreon.com/among the lilies. But the thing that he left me with, I asked him to give all of you ladies a piece of advice, and me as well. I said, most of my listeners are young women. Some of them married, some not. What's your advice for us? How can we live out the virtue of prudence better in our life? And he said, I want you to say no to something that you haven't said no to yet, like something that you could say yes to. And I laughed and I was like, did Matt tell you to tell me that? And he's like, no, but if it's resonating, that's good. That's the Holy Spirit at work. So yeah, when our kids were really young, well, I think I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I think all of us are, right? We want to make other people happy. We want to help them. We want to be there for them. And when my kids were really little, I think I said yes all the time. If a friend needed me to look after their kids, or if they needed a ride somewhere, I always said yes. Or someone needed a meal, I'm like, yes, of course I can do this. Yes, we could do this. We could do this. And I guess maybe I went overboard, and my husband got upset with me and was like, Cameron, I need you to know that you're overcommitting to everyone outside of our home. And every time you're saying yes to someone else, you're saying no to me and the kids. I was like, no, I'm not. I didn't say no to you. And I was like, he's right. Like that, it really hit me in my heart. And I had to look at it and pray about it. And I was like, okay, why does that bother me so much? And I think because I wouldn't purposely say no to my husband or my children. I would have, like, if it was a matter of life and death or safety, like, Mom, can I run across the street? No, obviously that's an easy no. But if it's something like, I want to spend time with you, like I want you to sit and read this book with me. We just started the Hobbit. We've gone through multiple books and reading where Matt reads to us at night. And normally after dinner, we'll sit around, light a couple candles, the kids will draw, and Matt just reads. And, it's been hard lately getting back into it because it's summer here and it's bright outside and the kids want to run around and they want to play and they want to be with their friends. And that's good for them to run and play and be with their friends. But it's also good for us to have time, just our family unit. And it's hard to say no to that other thing, but there's really good that'll come out of it. So sometimes we have to say no to another good, like running around and playing outside is a good, but we're saying no to that certain nights. So we're like, no, priority tonight is our family. We're going to sit down and Dad's going to read to us. So last night we were all actually in our room in bed snuggling, and Matt's reading to us. And I don't know about your kids, but mine are very active and they're all over the place. And it takes them a while to like get in the zone and get settled enough that they're just quiet and listening. But I feel like by the time we got there, like Matt was tired and I was tired. It was like, all right, let's go to bed. And the kids were like, no, please keep reading. They wanted us to keep going. And it's like, okay, we need to. So we said tonight we're going to carve aside some more time earlier. So our girls have gymnastics until 7. We're like, okay, they'll get home. We're not going to play with friends. We're just going to eat. I'm going to try to feed them dinner before they go. And then they'll eat something and we're just sitting down reading and we're just going to be together. And so we're saying yes to something greater, right? Today we went to noon mass on campus. It's beautiful. It's daily mass, but it's always an hour. And it's a wonderful, beautiful thing. But by saying yes to that, we have to say no to other things, right? And sometimes it's worth saying yes to that and no to other things. Other times it's like, well, actually, I need to be here for the electrician to get this thing set up in the house. So even though mass is good and beautiful, I'll probably have to say no to it tomorrow or the next day, and whenever the electrician comes to rewire things. And then hopefully I won't have issues of this dying. This right now, what I'm doing with you, I am choosing to do this over some bills. I have a lot of bills I need to get paid, but I'm saying no to that right now to say yes to this. But if one of my kids walk in, I'll probably have to shut this and it'll be a really short episode. Like we're what? I don't know, 6 minutes in. And it's like, I'm going to say no to you people on YouTube, even though you're wonderful, beautiful people. And I enjoy chatting with you. But I'll say no to you if my child runs in and needs my attention right now. And it's like, okay, not new mass, sorry, noon mass, Noon. Someone just clarified. Thank you. No, it's not a new mass. It's the old, beautiful, gorgeous mass. Well, it's mass. It's universal mass, but no, noon. It happens at 12 and it goes normally to 1, sometimes a little later. And I feel like by the time you're done chatting with people outside, sometimes it's 1:30 by the time we're leaving. So, yes. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm reading comments. This is new for me too. So you can write comments and I can read them as I'm talking to you. This is fun. I'm excited to get back to my normal, interviews with face to face. Like that is my sweet spot. Like having another lady over and sitting on a comfy couch and having a heart to heart. That's what this channel really is about. And it hasn't been that for a bit, just because I've been in transition and dealing with health stuff. And yeah, so I feel like what Father Gregory Pine said was really good. He's like, say no to something. Because if you say yes to everything, you run yourself ragged. It's not good to be. And then when someone asks, like, how are you doing? You're like, busy. Well, maybe it's because you haven't said no to anything. Maybe it's because you're saying yes to everyone and their mother. And you can't take time to just sit and be. You know, he was talking about studying, and he can study and read all these books, but he's like, sometimes I just need a little downtime. So he keeps, I think it's Saturdays for going hiking. And he's like, I've only been like twice, but Saturday is the day set aside that I can do something else, right? And I feel like that's the beauty of our faith and not working on the Sabbath. Like our Jewish brothers and sisters take Saturday, but we take Sunday as a day of rest. And it's like, yeah, we may go have a friendly game of softball with some other friends, or we may go to a friend's house for a potluck, or we may set up the blow-up pool or a sprinkler in the backyard and let the kids run and play. But it's a time for us to sit and be. And yes, we go to mass and it's lovely. Prudence with Pine, that's what I should have called it. Well, if I have him back on, that's what I'll call it. Prudence with Pine. Good job. Yes. So I think it's important to like have downtime built into our schedule. I am not a very productive person. I know some people are very productive and they get so much done in a day. And I definitely go into like overdoer mode sometimes. But I don't see it as a virtue. I don't think it's good when I get in an overdoer mode. I think I see all the tasks that need to be done and I'm just like, oh, I got to get this done no matter what. So like last night I was getting rid of a dresser in my room and we're moving it into my daughter's room and then giving her dresser to a neighbor. So we're like rearranging dressers and we were going until probably 8 p.m. And my husband was just like, are we almost done with this? Like, why can't we just sit and be together? And I was like, sorry, I just had to get this finished. And sometimes we need to do that. We need to get a project finished, but we need to make sure that we're not staying in that like overdoer mode. We're not human doers, we're human beings. And I think we need to learn to sit and be. Just like if you always I'm really, really bad about when I'm listening to podcasts or Marco Polos or I don't know, a YouTube something or other. I listen to everything in double time. And when someone else walks in, they're like, oh my goodness, Cameron. I'm like, I know. I need to turn it off. I need to take a breath and slow down a little bit. And there's lots of good, beautiful things. So like sometimes it's listening to a Bible story on Hallow, or we just went through Saint Therese and the story of a soul. And it's been beautiful and it's good. But it's like, I need to slow myself down And so maybe you don't struggle with this. Maybe you're very chill and you don't need to say no because you naturally say no to everything. But I think a lot of you ladies are like me and you want to help your friend. You want to help your neighbor. You want to help a random person that wants help, and you just always say yes to things. And maybe it's more prudent for you to say no and look at that and really pray about it and say, okay, God, help me really discern if this is something that you're calling me to do. And something else. And so there's a book on prudence. It's coming out. I think you could pre-order now. It's through our Sunday Visitor. It's Father Gregory Pine. I highly recommend it. Hopefully, I'll have him back on and you guys can see our chat. Trent Horn did a really good episode with him talking about his new book that you can listen to. But I think it's good to not overly discern things, because I think sometimes we get stuck in a rut and we're like, okay, I have to make sure this is God's will. Like we overanalyze and we're like, okay, unless this is exactly what God wants me to do, I need to not do it. And we almost get paralyzed and we don't make any decisions. And it's like, well, I don't know if God wants me to propose to this girl or enter with this order. I just can't do anything. So people that have like been discerning things, you know these people, right? They've been discerning getting married to someone for like 7 years, or been discerning entering the seminary for 5 years. I'm sorry, if you're 25 and you've been discerning this since you were 20, what's the old saying? Poop or get off the pot? Do it. Like go enter with them and then you can continue to discern, right? Like when you enter with an order, that's not your final vows. That's not your ordination. That's you just being open to it and having that. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. Or same with if you've been dating someone for a while and you're like, I think she's the one, I'm not sure. I remember Matt called up a friend of ours, Mark Bennett, and was like, man, I'm not sure. I feel like Cameron's the one. I should marry her, but I'm not sure. And he's like, what did he say? He was like, oh, you freaking idiot. She's bloody amazing. Just propose before she realizes she's too good for you, or something like that. It was like a real Australian bloke, which I can't really do the accent, but you know what I mean. And he just kind of gave Matt the courage, like, just do it, just ask her. And I don't think Matt had total peace right afterwards, like, oh my goodness, she's the woman that I'm supposed to marry. But it was like, no, this seems like I'm going in the right direction. Before we got engaged, she was discerning the Friars of the Renewal. They're a great, beautiful order, right? We have a lot of friends that are Sisters of the Renewal or Friars of the Renewal, and they're doing amazing good works in the world. And would Matt have been miserable if you joined him? No, I don't think so. I think he could have made a really good friar, but he was discerning that and discerning dating me. And Dave Dobbelstein, there's this guy that had been in the seminary previously, but then ended up marrying one of our net sisters from our team. And he said, Matt, you've come to a crossroads, okay? And you have Cameron here and you have the Friars of the Renewal here. You can't move forward. You have 1 foot over here discerning priesthood and 1 foot over here discerning marriage with Cameron. You're stuck here. You can't move. You need to decide what path you want to go down, shut the door, and walk down that path. And then either what'll happen is the Lord will confirm that, like, yes, this is where I want you. This is exactly what I want you to do. This order is right for you. You feel at home. The mother superior or whoever, your spiritual director is like, yes, you belong here. And you get confirmations. And then you have final vows. Or for Matt, he chose to shut that door and come down this one where he was dating me. And he had lots of confirmations that he was actually being called to marriage. And we got married. And we've been married for, it'll be 16 years this summer. And it's good. It's not easy. Marriage is hard, but we're helping each other grow in holiness, right? And we've got to choose. If you're, I don't know, a sophomore or junior in high school and you're debating colleges, you can't just continue to discern. At one point, you need to make a choice and just do it. All right, other people are writing in. Let me read these real quick. You need this right now. Yay, Emily, I'm glad. I'm applying for a new job, and there are some positions that Jesus is definitely calling me to say no to. Yeah, and that's hard. And sometimes you say no to something that looks better on paper, but go with your gut. Like go sit and pray with the Lord and just say, let me know. Like, Lord, here's all the things. There's a lot that I want to say yes to, but I know I can't say yes to all of it. You let me know. I say no to more things than I say yes to, which is really hard for me. And I had a hard time doing that until Matt told me that. Like when you say no to someone else, you're saying yes to the kids and I. And I try to do it as gracefully as possible without hurting people's feelings. But it's like my health stuff this past year has made it a lot harder. So like I want to get together with friends, but I'm like, I can't commit to next Wednesday night. I'm sorry. It depends on if I'm having a good day or not. If I'm feeling well, yes, I'd love to come. If I'm not feeling well, I may not function and I can't come. And it's just that's life. And we need to be there and be able to say yes, yes and no. Yeah. So here's the thing. So someone else is saying they listen to things on double time too. Um, Everything seems like such a rush. It's true. So for me, I think it actually helps me pay attention more. I don't know if it's my ADD or what, but I know that when they're talking quicker, my brain follows and I actually focus in more. And as I'm like washing the dishes or something, but I choose not to have it on other times, right? So it's like, okay, I can listen to a podcast as I am doing this. I was like putting up this wallpaper. I was listening to a podcast. I have a thing from IKEA here I need to put together. So I can listen when I'm doing that. But then other times I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn it off and not listen while I'm sweeping the floor downstairs. Or I'm just going to sit and have my cup of coffee. And I do the Hallow app a lot for prayer time. So I feel like, but I don't double speed it. I just keep it quiet and chill, and I'll get my cup of coffee, I'll sit in a chair, I'll take some deep breaths, take some prayer time, and just try to be more quiet and chill. Um, yeah, I think it's what was the reading? Was it last week at Mass where it was like, yeah, I think it was last Sunday. Like God was not in the loud noise. He wasn't in the earthquake. He wasn't in the fire, like all these massive things, the storm, the massive storm, the hurricane. The Lord wasn't in that. He was in the tiny whisper, right? The tiny whisper. So we need to have ourselves in a position where we can hear the whisper. And if we're running around with a chicken with their head cut off, we won't hear the whisper. So I don't know. I'm just challenging you, my sister, to sit and be and pray about, Lord, what can I say no to right now? Even though maybe I don't want to say no to it, but maybe it's another dinner plans with friends. And sometimes it's really good stuff. Like you can get invited to a party and it's like, I'd like to go to the party. It'd be fun. But we've been out every night this week. I need to just sit and be and sit in the small and just listen. So this is me challenging you, passing on via Father Pine. I'm passing on his message to challenge you to say no to something and really practice that virtue of prudence. Another thing he said that I loved, which is so true, like the more virtuous we become, the more fully human we become, right? We are created in the image and likeness of God. And it's through becoming virtuous people that we become more and more like God. And so growing in the virtues and looking at the virtues and not just not running around with the chicken with their head cut off, even if everyone else is doing it. Even if your neighbor's kids are in sports every single afternoon, it doesn't mean your kids need to be in sports every afternoon. Even if you see someone else doing this, that, and the other, and they seem to be fine, that doesn't mean you have to do it. It doesn't mean I have to do it. And I don't think we're called to it, to be honest. I don't think we're called to be that crazy, that busy. So this is me sitting back, having a cup of tea, sláinte, cheers. Yeah, and just say no to something. So I unfortunately had to say no to I did the interview earlier, but it didn't work. So instead of trying to get him back on and re-record, I just thought I'd give this little tidbit to you because it is now 4 p.m. and I need to go make dinner for my family because my primary vocation is not a YouTuber. It is not a podcaster. I love chatting with y'all. I love going to women's conferences and talking, and that's wonderful. But that is not my main calling in life. My main calling is being a good, beautiful, supportive wife and mother. And so for me to do that well, I need to turn this off now. So go do what you need to do. Hopefully this blessed you. God bless you. If you have certain topics you want me to cover. So I'm going to be starting to do my in-person interviews, but I'm also going to be doing ones like this where I just sit and chat with you for however long I have. So this time it was 20 minutes. Next time it may be 10 minutes or 30 minutes. But if you have particular topics you want me to cover, please write them in the comments below. Or if you have questions, I'll answer them. I always am accepting them over on patreon.com/amongthelilies, but you can write them here in the comment section as well. All right. God bless. Praying for you, sisters. Bye-bye.